We're going to have a really great show today. Buckle in.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome, what for? Train in the trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands, and stormy shore seasons in the year, yeah. Ain't no challenge for champions and chain no fear.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I love this show. I am bummed out a little bit, though. I am bummed out because it's Friday. It's kind of the reverse, I think, of a lot of people here, right, on the show. Because we here at Paleocrat Diaries, we really enjoy Mondays. We enjoy Mondays big time. And we get sad when it's Friday because it's the weekend and there's no show in the morning. Although we're pumped up because Saturday is coming. Saturday is coming. And it's also maybe, well, there is a little bit of a bummer on Fridays. It's the old fasting and abstinence ordeal. Okay, so we abstain from meat, right, in this house. But it's cool because my wife's making some pancakes. It's what she's doing. We can't have the red meat. We can't have the chicken. I wish we could have some chicken, but it's nice. It's nice once a week. And seasonally. I like the liturgical cycle of Catholicism. I love that. And but it's one of those things. But Friday, it bums me out. Friday bums me out a little bit, but we have a great show for you, okay? We have a really, really, really great show, and I decided because we didn't focus so much on funny stories this week. Yesterday was pretty serious, right? We've done that a little bit. We're in serious times. That today, I'm going to do a little itsy bit more of the fun stuff, okay? Not tons. We're not going to go back, I don't think, to the 45 minutes, but we're going to do a little bit more of the fun stuff. And so because we're going to do that, we just got to get cranking right away. We got to just go right away. Before we do, let me get my mini-me up there. There's my mini-me. Look at that cute little bugger. Okay, before we do that, though, we got to do this. Just so that you know, throughout the show, we will not be engaging in the comments section. We're reserving that we're keeping track of it. We're monitoring the situation. That's what we're doing. We are monitoring the situation. And what we're doing is that after the show, we go through, we highlight comments that we want to engage with, and then we make a special video, and that's posted. I did it yesterday. Okay, so I posted it yesterday. I was a little late on it, but I posted it yesterday, and we're going to do it. It's pretty labor intensive, right? To be honest, it really is. It's a little bit labor intensive. And so we've decided, okay, we're going to do every couple days instead of every single night. Every couple days we're going to do it. Take our favorite comments, put them together, address those, and give it time. If it's an hour, it's an hour. If it's an hour and a half, it's an hour and a half. No matter what, it's extra time on the show. And what it does is it kind of frees people up to say, you know what, you can, here, let me get this out of the way so it doesn't glitch anymore. You can go ahead and post about anything you want. It doesn't mean that you have to keep up with the show in real time as if there's going to be engagement in real time. We reserve that for the very, very, very beginning, and mainly just to let you know how it works. So this is how it works. No matter where you are, if you are on YouTube, Facebook, DLive, Twitch, Periscope, it does not matter. If you're watching it live right now and you're commenting, it comes into the master thread, okay? It all pulls in to one awesome place, and I get to see all of them, okay? Me and the staff. We get to see the whole thing. And so as an example of this, you can see, for example, it says, if you can see this, please pray for our good priest. They're being silenced and attacked. I'm not entirely sure where that is, but you know what? We need to be praying for the priests anyways, especially in these times. And we should be all the time, but especially now, right? But that comment right there, for example, was from YouTube. You got, okay, Father Heilman being silenced. Okay, I got you. Yeah, okay. And David the Hermit. Man, this guy, by the way, he's a commenting machine. I am grateful for that, dude. I'm grateful for you, David. He's also on YouTube, and it doesn't matter. You may be, I think there's like 5 different YouTube channels bumping right now at the same time. So, I mean, you may be on any of these channels. You may not see these comments. They may be on a different one, but we see them all. Thank God. It's Friday, right? No. No. I love my show. I love what I do, man. I love what I do when I do what I love, and it bums me out when I gotta say goodbye for the weekend. It just does. It bums me out, man. It bums me out. Let's see here. Consider closing your Amazon, Facebook, and Twitter account. Get out of the big banks. Okay, so that's another one. Yeah, look, that's something I can address, by the way. I will address that one. I like that one. I'll address that one in the post-show Q&A super show that we do, where we highlight all the different comments that we feel kind of pop out and things like that. So, okay, the whole point is, you can post here. We encourage you to post here, but just know that throughout the show, we're not going to be going in and out, because we want to be able not only to keep the flow of the show, keep it trimmed down to about 2 hours, but we want to make sure that on those comments that are thought out, well-crafted, succinct, pithy, right? Pulling a Bill O'Reilly from back in the day, keep them pithy. If you do that, we will highlight that in the post-show Q&A Super Show video, and we'll talk about it. And if you want to see how that works, you can go to paleocratdiaries.com right now, and you can find out more about that. Because I posted the unlisted video, and that's the other thing, though. That's the trick. It's the trick. You got to go to one of two places. That's it. You got to go to either the Telegram account, okay, and we'll go ahead and just show that. Do I have that on here? Do I got to go over to this one? Let's see. News. That. Okay, so that right there. Okay, that right there. Those are the Telegram channels we've got. Paleocrat Diaries, Wolfpack Chat. That's the group chat. As well as Paleocrat Diaries. That's my main place that I go and I share my stuff on Telegram. At this point, it's my primary mechanism for social media. I've thought about dropping my Facebook account. It's a possibility. It might happen. By the way, there were some people yesterday. Who was it yesterday that shared my video and said this might be my last Facebook video ever? That's not true. I'm on a whole bunch of different Facebook channels, man. You're spooking people. They're like, oh no, what? And it's like, well, no. There's a whole bunch. They're all over the place. But on my own personal one, on my profile, Facebook has made it so that I can't even share it. So you got to go, if you want to see the super chat, or the super show, you want to see that, you can go to paleocratdiaries.com, or you can go to the Telegram and you can see how it works. And I hope it gets you pumped up. So we'll go ahead and we'll make one of those this weekend. All right. Now, before we move on, we got a bunch of great stuff, but I want to encourage you, if you go to paleocratdiaries.com, make sure you can support the show. If you love it, support it, And one of the best ways, I know that, all this stuff here, you can buy the cups. It's got all different kinds. It's got the jumbo mug, espresso mug, bone china. It's got all that stuff. All the information's there as well. Different pricings, different images on there. That one's our old logo. That is the War Cry logo is what we call that. And so the War Cry logo, that's the old one. We have the new one where I'm screaming into the microphone. That can be on there too. We've got a bunch of stuff. The thing is, though, is that a lot of people look at that and be like, man, I don't know. I don't have a bunch of money. That's okay. Think there's a lot of other ways. One way is to comment. Another way is to share it. Another way is just to keep watching. Another way is to go and become a subscriber at paleocratdiaries.com. It's free. Okay, you can become a subscriber and get updated all the time. That's the primary way. We're not. I do this because we have a store. It's a Zazzle store, okay? And I told you guys that we would update that on the website over the weekend. But the thing is that, really when it comes down to it, you are the value. You are what keeps us going. And so we encourage that. And if you want to support the show, there's many ways you can. Of course, that way. And you've also got sweaters, shirts. I like the baseball one, to be honest. I like the baseball one. I want to get, in fact, I'd like to get the male, the male baseball one, as well as both of those, or that sweater right there, that zip up, and the collar one. I really like those, and you can get those as well as magnets and stickers, keychains, pins, you can find that at Zazzle. Okay, that's Paleocrat Diaries at the Zazzle store. All right, moving forward.
Are you old enough?
Moving forward. Okay, so up to the funny stories. I'm told I've got to deal with this. I'm told that we've got to hold on a second. Did I cancel that out? Yeah, I think so. Okay. So I've been told that some of this stuff would be videos and photos, and some of it we got to go back to the share screen that we just came from with the chat. And so the first one here, I've been told, is a video, and it's a failed prediction. I'm not entirely sure, what they mean by that. But we're going to find out. We're going to find out what this is. And if you've got a funny story, make sure to go ahead and mail it to us. We absolutely love the emails. Paleocratdiaries@gmail.com. I have a whole bunch that I'm kind of backlogged a little bit. And we'll publish those. I get some from some people every day. They share stuff every single day with me. And I'll go ahead and put some of that on at the beginning of next week, spread it out throughout the week. But if you've got a funny story, you got something you think I should cover, or a serious one, make sure to email us, paleocratdiaries@gmail.com. All right, so what's up with this what's up with this failed prediction? We're going to see how bad it is. I've been told it's bad. So I've seen some bad predictions, though, so here we go.
Are you old enough
I didn't vote. I don't believe in democracy.
Okay.
Okay.
I believe in Thule, the ancient city, and raising Thule. And I think that Trump is the candidate who's going to raise Thule and Atlantis.
What?
I believe in global cooling the earth. The sea level's lowering, and I believe in land raising from the bottom of the ocean with ancient ruins on it, like the ruins of Thule.
Okay.
And I believe that Trump's going to accomplish all of that.
How?
Yeah.
He's going to prove that UFOs exist. The government has known about it for a long time. They've known that
the anchor
UFOs are out
reporting
there,
on this
and that
is
they're
like,
trying to
what?
communicate with us, and that they have secrets about the origins of human consciousness. Are you familiar with the philosopher Friedrich Schelling? Have you read the critical historical
Look at the guy in the background, too. This guy's like, dang, son,
Schelling
what's
is
this guy
a
about?
German idealist philosopher. He was roommates with Hölderlin and with Hegel. And he
Wow.
talks about all of this. He predicted it a long time ago. Trump is going to make German idealism real. He's going to complete the system. Kant, he could not complete the system of German idealism.
Wow, so this guy's way out there. I don't know how long this even goes. I'm done. This guy, and look, man, you can tell by the glowy eyes, man, this dude's believing it. He's like, I believe in Thule. I believe in Atlantis. He's going to cause it to rise. The whole world's going to cool. Everything's going to get crazy. It's going to be the realization of all of the craziness, the German idealism. Wow! And you're thinking, dude, homie, slow down on the coke, dude. Slow down on the coke, bro. This guy. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? He's either the kookiest weirdo I've seen in a long time, or he's the most amazing troll that's ever existed. One of the two. Well, I don't know, man. It's the same thing about that dude who doesn't wipe his butt because he eats enough fiber. That too. He's like in that realm. He's in that place competing with that. I mean, that's stunning. It's stunning. Do you have any friends, by the way, that are kind of like that? Do you have friends? Everybody's got kind of the weird friend. I think I'm probably the weird friend to a lot of folks. They're like, people are answering, yeah, you. I watch your show every day, dude. You are the weird friend. And I'm like, oh, okay, you got me. But, you know what I mean, though, right? The weird friend who pulls up these extremely bizarre things, man, about the world and his philosophy of the way things are going to work out and the origin of consciousness. And, all this sort of stuff, man. I know dudes. I got friends, man. They're like, oh, bro, it's aliens. We're totally seeded here, man. Yeah, the aliens were the first ones. They were like luminaries. And then we're like a combination of a bunch of different kind of animals. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, man. I know. Believe me. I got those friends. Man. Oh, boy. All right. So, yeah, okay. So there's some failed predictions in there, right? So that guy did not do good. He didn't do, who would have figured? If you had to put money on it when you first heard that, if someone says, okay, we're taking bets right now, and you got to bet the farm, right? You got to bet your life. Somebody's got a gun to your head. And they say, do you think that these predictions are going to come true? If you're wrong, you're done for, buddy. If you're wrong, dude, you're out of here. And you're like, how long would it take before you go, no? Here, let me think for a while. No. You got to give me a minute. No. It would be so easy to do. So easy, man. Who's this guy? Is he in hiding? By the way, is Ali Alexander still in hiding? Where is that guy? I don't know. All right, let's see here. Winter exists. 12-year-old me pretending to smoke a cigarette. Okay, let me ask you guys. When you were little, was that how you were? Did you sit there and pretend, and all the, steam comes out and you're like, yeah, I'm smoking, dude, yeah. I used to buy those candy smokes. I used to buy those things. Those are the gateway drug, man. That's the gateway drug to Marlboro. Is that we need to really, really ban all that stuff. Oh, it's funny. I know people who are like, oh no, that's serious. And you're like, no, if that's serious, why not a pacifier? Why not a pacifier, man? You got yourself some kind of oral fixation happening there, buddy Slice. We got to get those pacifiers out of the mouth. Maybe there's a point to that too. But making it illegal. Come on now. Come on now. Not even for adults, man. If I see some dude walking around with eyes bulging, you know, pupils dilated like crazy, a bunch of blinkers and beaded necklaces and bracelets and kind of doing this thing on it, you know, pacifier. I'm like, well, you know, I still don't want to ban a pacifier from him, you know. He might have a messed up, you know, what would be an overbite? Does that cause, you know, if you do that too much, an overbite? I think, depending if he's on what I'm kind of alluding to the idea that he's on, it's going to cause things maybe a lot worse than the overbite. Oh, okay. Now I'm told I got to go back. Okay. I got you. Got to go back to the main. Got to go back to the window capture. All right. Toronto woman. This is UPI.com. Okay, there's a couple from UPI. Toronto woman finds a knife-wielding squirrel in the backyard. Hold on. Oh, what? Dude, you see that bugger? Where'd he get that knife? Holy cow. Okay, let me ask you guys. As you are witnessing this, do you think that he's taunting the woman inside? Do you think he's sitting there and he's like, you see what I got coming? He's all sharpening it up. It's kind of like, you know, when you see the videos and everything where you got the butcher and he's got the two knives and he's kind of doing that. Sharpening the blade, wetting the blade, blum, blum, blum. You think that's what that squirrel's doing to that lady? I don't know what kind of beef that squirrel's got with that lady, but, you know, she might want to consider calling the cops. She might want to say, look, I don't know why this squirrel's mad. Maybe I did something. Maybe I did something and made the squirrel ticked off. I don't know where it got the knife from. Thank God it is not a gun. That'd be even worse. He's all sitting outside. Next thing you know, freaking out, dude. Get out of there, lady. Get out of there. Call the cops. Call the cops. Okay. Oh, it's coming, guys. The animal uprising is on its way. Okay, it's not even on its way, right? The peak manifestation of the whole thing is on its way. But we've been neck deep in the animal uprising for quite a while. We haven't figured out exactly how long, but we know, I mean, it may be many thousands of years that we've actually been involved in this long con with the animal kingdom, you know, and going around and scheming and plotting and all this stuff, and it's finally coming to fruition. And now they're outside your window and they're taunting you with knives. Didn't a deer have an axe? Wasn't that something we showed recently? Was it a deer? Was it carrying those little hooves? It's all walking around like that. Oh, man. Okay, moving on. Let's see. Soccer player kicks a 105-yard field goal, breaks a Guinness World Record. Okay. I don't know if I even believe this, number one. The second thing, I mean, I guess, well, it's right here. It says, wow, it's in a one-to-one. This is one of the reasons, guys, by the way, that I don't really like watching soccer. Is because you can have an amazing thing like that. You're like, oh my gosh, the goalie made, you know, a 105-yard goal, kicking it all the way across. You're like, wow, that's amazing. And you're like, dude, so the team won. You're like, no, it was 1-1 at the end. And it's like, I know people that say, yeah, but you got to understand. It's more about, you know, the strategy and stuff. And I'm like, to a 1-1 game, there's got to be a balance, right? I mean, it's like, I don't like games that you know, you're scoring up to 200 points or something. You're scoring 150 points in basketball, 160 points. You're like, just, you know, crazy numbers. It's like, it seems too easy at that point. You're like, maybe we should raise the rim or something. And like, but you see this and it's like the opposite of that. It's like the opposite of that. You know, who wants to watch a baseball game where the score is, you know, 21 to whatever? Who's going to want to watch that? There's got to be kind of in the middle. Kind of in the middle. A good game, you know, maybe, you know, 6 to 8 runs or something. Same thing with soccer, man. It's got to be better. Maybe they need to make the goal bigger. Maybe they need to make the goal bigger. I don't know. And I bet you there's people who love soccer watching this show who are like, dude, you've lost me. I'm done. I'm done. Oh man, I gotta tell you, I played it for like half a minute. I played it for half a minute. I think one season, man. Maybe two. So all right, let's see this thing. Oh dang. Okay. Oh, oh yeah. Okay, that's legit. All right, hold on a second. We gotta go back. Boom. Okay, it's off screen. I mean, this bugger's like massive. Look at this. Holy cow. Okay, in fairness, that game may have been made worth the while by watching that. It's a tough call though. Even with that, I'm like, I don't know. You want to go to the soccer game? Are they going to do that? Well, it's only happened once. It's a world record. Probably not. I don't think so. I think the only time I like watching soccer is when I go to those Mexican restaurants and stuff. And it's the only time. I'm serious about that. We have a place up the road, Seven Mare. I love that place. They've always got the soccer going on there, right? And I like hearing the announcers. That, in fairness, you know, I've always liked announcers for different sports and stuff. You know, it's a real art form, you know. And it's one of those things where people, they don't really appreciate it. I used to listen to sports all the time on the radio. So you know, growing up that way, hearing those announcers and everything, there's a real art to that. Sometimes they get a little too artistic and end up getting their butts fired. I had a buddy like that, man. He was really great too. I think he ended up getting a job later doing the same thing, but he got let go. He was really, really, really ticked off. It was a call. This guy hit the ball, barely went anywhere. Pitcher goes up, grabs the ball. It was an easy out. Just throw it to first. And he decided he was going to run to try to catch him and didn't get him in time and basically lobbed it. And the guy's like, this is the worst. He's like, this is pathetic. And he was like screaming on the thing. He went overboard. But he's a great announcer. Okay, Idaho man. No. UPI does this on purpose. Idaho men stack 47 bars of soap for Guinness World Record. Oh, yeah, Idaho men. David Rush, dude, he's even got, look at his shirt. He's got a shirt now that's got his name on it. Professional record breaker, right? He's like a Guinness World Record chaser, like ambulance chasers, but worse. Let's see what he says here. Hold on.
Back with a man like no other, Jonathan Hollywood Hannon. What happened on that first attempt?
Jonathan Hollywood? What did I tell you guys? It's fame and fortune. This dude, he's working his way up. Look, he's got the shirt going now. It's that fancy blue. I bet it cost a fortune. I bet it cost a fortune. Look at the guy next to him. He's like, I'm in on the plot, dude. He's uncomfortable. He's uncomfortable. He knows he's in trouble. Okay, a Hollywood hand. Dude, I'm telling you, I knew it. I knew David Rush. This guy's broken like 150 or 160 world records. He's just finding anything he can do at this point. We're stacking wet soap. We're just stacking wet soap as fast as we can. We're going to break the record because that's going to get kids into science. And you're like, oh yeah. You know how many kids are into science right now that they're like, you know what? The reason I got into science and technology is because I was watching David Rush stack wet soap. No! This is all about the money, dude. This is all about the money and probably all the ladies. Fame and fortune, dude. Yeah, fame and fortune. By the look of the hairline, he's old enough maybe to have watched the lifestyles of the rich and heinous. The Rich and Heinous with Robin Leach. He's probably old enough. He's nostalgic about it. He wants that back. He's like, I wanted that. He's probably old enough to remember Cribs. Is that even still on, by the way? Who cares? Who cares if Cribs is even on anymore? Nobody cares about that crap. I think there's only been a couple Cribs episodes that I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. One of those, what was the name of that band? Oh, there was a band. This is like pretty popular for half a minute. They kind of vanished and disappeared, but they had this kind of Oompa Loompa room underneath the stairs. It's really small. They had you go in and had weird lights, like black lights and stuff, and they admitted that it was a lot of drugs in there. Like that's what it was. And the group would go and, go under the stairwell and everything in this weird, creepy room and get super high. Kind of like the Monkees. Well, the Monkees, it wasn't a weird, creepy room. That band, the Monkees, hey, we're the Monkees, that band, you can watch documentaries about them. They were so stoned, and they had a kid's show. It played that bugger on Nickelodeon. And I never knew it. I never, when I was young and stuff, I never spotted the completely dilated, bloodshot eyeballs. Davy Jones and all them. I had no idea, man. But they were blown out of their mind. They said they were so high, and they were so, beholden to the weed that they made this room, painted it all black, had weird lights all over, lava lamps and crap. And they ended up setting up these lights along the wall. They were different colors so that whenever one of them would light up, or all of them, or any combination, they would know it was their turn to go out and do some recording for, the kids show. But other than that, it was just, let's smoke weed all day. That's what it was. Okay, let's see here. What's this? What is this? Musician plays box drum for over 25 hours for new Guinness record. No, I'm not even going to watch this. Who's going to do this? Jared Dormer Cajun? No. No, dude. What kind of weird church is he in anyway? What kind of weird place is that? I don't know, man. Very poorly put together. Very poorly put together. Not at all inspiring. And it's not inspiring to sit there and just be playing the box drum for 25 hours. And why did he stop? Why didn't he go 26? Why did he say 25? Did he just find the bare minimum? Is that what this is about? You can break the record with a bare minimum now. Woman realizes she's always tired after catching the culprit on a night camera. Okay. So we got to see this one here. What is this? We've only got a couple more stories here. Let's see. So tired in the morning, set up a night vision camera to find out. Oh, here's Ginger. What is Ginger? Oh, it's a cat. I bet you this is why I struggle. I bet you this is Lion. This is what he does. Look. Look at this. Boo, boo, boo. Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, 11 p.m. till 3. Oh, no. He comes back for more. Ginger's like, I ain't done. I want more. I bet you my cat does this. He's forceful. He is forceful. He's in my face, pushing his face against me. I bet you that's why I wake up so much. Man, I'm all like wondering, I wonder if I've got restless leg syndrome. I wonder if my legs are constantly wiggling. It's probably not. It's probably my cat. I love that guy. I'd forgive him. I'd be like, yes, you're putting my health at risk, okay? You're putting my health at risk. I have terrible sleep at night. But the truth is, I love you, buddy. I love you so much. Okay. American girl sparks heated debate for saying that McDonald's is so much better in the UK. For one, she's TikToking it up. So we already know that this is probably a scam. And look at her face. She looks like she's scamming us, right? Doesn't she? Can't you just see it in those eyes? Can't you see it? You're like, I don't believe a single thing you say. I don't believe it. You're TikToking it up. And I don't believe in the TikToking it up crowd. I don't believe in that. I don't know if I've hardly ever seen a single TikTok video that when I watch it, I'm like, oh, that's legit. No. Hardly ever. Hardly ever. But this lady, we know she's lying. I can tell you right now, she's lying like crazy. And the reason why I know is because your boy's been to England. I've been over there. Okay. In fact, I've tasted the. Did I have McDonald's? No. I didn't have McDonald's. My wife did. My wife and the kids. Me and Samantha, rest in peace. Love her with all my heart. Miss her. But it was our Make-A-Wish trip, right? It was her Make-A-Wish trip, and the whole family was there. It was a really great time, and they had McDonald's, And so I don't know if they would say it was better because the salt content's a lot lower. I mean, it just is, and in America we love the salt, don't we? It's not just that; it's also sugar. The sugar content's really low too, so everything's kind of bland a little bit. It's just the way it is. It still makes people fat. In fact, the only fat people that we saw, and by saying fat, I mean like really obese, right? The only really obese, hyper obese, morbidly obese people that we saw during our trip in England was two ladies who came up to the bus stop. And that was the first one we saw. Came up to the bus stop, and my daughter, I mean, it was so rare. My daughter was like, she's like, Papa, tugging on my shirt. She goes, look, fat people. And we were surprised, not meaning to dog anybody. You just don't see him. Everybody's walking around and stuff. And so they come up to us, and it was obvious they wanted to talk, and they started talking. I think they were from like Iowa or some crap. I'm like, you guys are from America? Of course you are. Of course you are. You know, it's a real thick accent too. I said, oh no. Now I know. Now I know. The other one, we got on the bus, driving around, and there was this real fat guy. He's walking around. He had McDonald's in his hand. So it's still doing its job in England. It's still working, okay? It's still doing its job. But this lady's lying because I don't think there's any food in England that is better than ours. None. Okay? For one, they don't even have lemonade. They don't have lemonade. You ask for lemonade, they're going to give you stinking Sprite. You go everywhere. You say, look, I want some lemonade. Giving you some Sprite. You go to a different place. Do you guys got lemonade? Yeah, we do. Bringing you some Sprite. Then you say, do you have, the lemons and that kind of, oh, yeah, we got that. They bring you some freaking Sprite. And you're like, no, I just want some lemonade. Do you guys not believe in this crap? Do you not believe in it? There's a reason for it, I guess. There's a reason for it. But the thing is, it's not just that. Everything is prawn this, prawn that. Prawn covered prawn and prawn sauce. It's just a prawn everywhere. And then, making matters worse, they sell this crap called bangers. You want to talk about nastiness. It's like cat food. It's like if you took a hot dog and you put that hot dog on a grill and you really let it kind of get, all kind of almost crispy. That texture where the outside layer is kind of a little bit crispy. You bite through it and it's not soft or anything like that. But the inside of it is a especially terrible surprise of this texture thing like cat food. Or like, what do they call it? Sandwich spread. You can buy that at the store. The sandwich spread. So you got to imagine the contrast of that. You're like, the kids tried it. They were like, oh, a banger. And he's like, oh, a hot dog. And we're like, oh, okay. So you get the hot dog. It ain't a hot dog. It's a freaking banger, dude. You get a banger and you get their Sprite, also known as lemonade. Lying to you with a side of prawn. The British people tuned in are mad. They're like, no, haven't you tried our, bread pudding? Yes, I have. That is, in fairness, right? And with meat pie, I'll give you that. And even the prawn, limited. Everything else is bleh. So this girl's lying through her teeth. She's doing this for likes and for dislikes. She doesn't care. She knows the algorithm it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's a like, it doesn't matter if it's a dislike. She just wants to have a good time. She just wants to get popular. She just wants to one day be as popular as with all the fame and fortune of David Rush, the professional record breaker. That guy. Now he's going to do the 25 hours and 5-minute thing, drumming on a box drumming. He's like, oh, you ain't getting that. I'm doing it now. What's this one? Last one. Oh, it's the last one. Okay. Oklahoma State Representative introduces bill to create Bigfoot hunting season. Oh, okay. Yeah, Bigfoot hunting season. Now we just need a Nessie season so we can have these monsters reenact that one Looney Tunes skit. By the way, guys, what do you feel about Bigfoot? What are your thoughts about it? I've seen some weird junk. What do you think about Elvis still being around? What do you think about old Adolf Hitler down in South America? What do you think? Have you seen it? Have you seen the shots, the photos, the blurry ones? But it's got kind of a coloration thing going on there. It looks maybe legit. I don't know. Elvis? I think it's legit. Elvis is floating around somewhere. I even saw one recently. I saw the 100% proof that David Bowie faked his own death. I don't know if you've seen that or not. Google makes sure to get rid of all that. So if you want to see any conspiracy videos, stuff like that, you want to see what's an authentic, really, truly relevant, not manipulation, propaganda, trying to change your mind about the world and all that. Don't go to Google anymore. Go to DuckDuckGo. What's the other one, man? Brave? I haven't used Brave. I plan on it. And you know, I'm going to start studying this stuff because I've been hearing a lot of good things about Brave. And I had somebody from the show, Kashan Petgrave, proposed the idea of me doing stuff with Brave. And so I promise I'll check into it. But okay, so back to this though. Back to this. Okay, you know, apart from the conspiracies, and you can put in the comments, you know, conspiracies that you either have studied or you believe in big time, or you're wondering if I've studied or believe in them. You can go ahead and put those, and we'll make sure to cover that in the post-show Q&A super show when we post it this weekend. But all right, so Nessie, apparently a Republican representative of the Antlers Hugo area, has filed a bill that would establish an official Bigfoot hunting season. How official, you ask? Official enough to have a licensing fee. See, this... You know there's going to be people, though. He knows it. That's the whole thing about this, man. I look at it and I'm like, man, this guy, he's playing on it, right? He's playing on it because he knows that maybe it's fake, and by maybe I mean there's a good possibility it's phony as heck, dude. It's phony as heck. I've watched all the shows. I've watched them all. I haven't missed any. It's like the ghost hunter shows. I have watched them. I'm not even lying. I've watched a bazillion of these ghost hunter shows. And you want to know what I haven't seen? I haven't seen any freaking ghosts. I haven't seen it. I've heard a lot of... And they're like, oh, did you hear it? And they put the subtitles on and crank it up. No. And why are you always turning off the lights, dude? Is there like some magic book that you got? Some revelation? That it's like, oh, they come out more if you turn the lights off. Oh. It's all dramatic effect, guys. It's all dramatic effect. I challenged them. In fact, I had a ghost hunting challenge. How long ago was it? Years ago. Where I said, if someone is like, look, man, I really believe in these ghosts. I really believe in them, and I go ghost hunting. Look, man, I enjoy watching it. I would enjoy going on a kind of a ghost adventure, going into some creepy place, having the, living crap scared out of me all night long. That would be kind of fun. Traumatizing, but fun. And minimal requirements for me. Minimal requirements. I would need some kind of a thing to keep track of notes or claims and stuff like that. I would probably want my own recording device. I'd probably want that. And so, but I wouldn't be there to necessarily be like, I'm going to debunk everything in the world. I don't have to, because I'm a critical person on this score. Same thing with old Sasquatch. You know how many people, dude, weirdos I've seen? Weirdos I've talked to? You know how many checkout lines I've been through? You go through the checkout lines and you got those magazines. National Enquirer, my dad used to have a segment called Expiring Minds Want to Know. And he had a segment on his old radio show where he would talk about headlines and stuff from the National Enquirer. And by the way, National Enquirer, you guys suck now. You got boring. You got boring. Almost all the stuff now. You go to their website, it's all just celebrity stuff. Hardly ever is there anything remotely creative anymore. Just nothing. Nothing. I call you guys out, man. If you did better, I would use you on the show. Expiring Minds Want to Know. In fact, I may actually start calling this segment that. I'll ask my dad. All right, we're done with this. We are moving back. So, okay, as a reminder, we'll scooch all the way down. Boom, 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 boom. As a reminder, if you're in the comment section, no matter where you are, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, DLive, Periscope, doesn't matter. We're on, right now, 17 different channels. If you comment, we will not be engaging in real time, okay? Although it is tempting, especially with all the gross stuff on there. Disgusting. Oh, yeah, the banger. So we won't be engaging in real time, but no matter where you are, you can see right here, you got Facebook, you've got YouTube. Those are all different channels. It just gives me the symbol of what platform they're using. If you go ahead and you comment and you make it good, even the pukey ones. I like stuff that's got, the emojis and stuff. It pops out. It's not just going to be a bunch of words, because we take screenshots of the comments that we like the most and want to engage with, and we put them on a special video that is made. It's unlisted, meaning you cannot see it. If you go to my YouTube channel, you're not going to find it. It's where it is, but it's unlisted. Okay. The only way to view it, there's only two ways. You got to have the link, and there's only two places where I'm sharing that link. The first one is over at paleocratdiaries.com. If you go there, check out that link. It's you'll be able to see that, and you can either watch the video right there on the website, or you can go click on the link on the YouTube video, and it will take you right over to the unlisted video on my YouTube channel. The other place is our Telegram. And so if you want to follow us on Telegram, Paleocrat Diaries, as well as Paleocrat Diaries Wolfpack Chat. And so the Wolfpack Chat's kind of a behind-the-scenes thing. There are some posts that every post from Paleocrat Diaries goes to the group, okay? But not every post in the group goes to Paleocrat Diaries, if that makes sense. So the group is really the special place. I got more in the channel than in the group, which is weird. But it's been really cool to talk with people and have them engage and stuff, and say how glad they are to not only follow the show, but even more to just connect off of the show. Because it's one thing to do this, but it's another thing. You know, I mean, I share stuff about music and art. Share stuff. Yesterday I shared a clip about, what was it, the death of democracy, kind of the end of that, or the last man of the West. Okay, it's a really good video by Oswald Spengler, YouTube. It's kind of an oldie but a goodie. I share stuff like that. I shared recently stuff about opera because I've never been to one. I've been to ballet. I love ballet. I love theater. I love symphony orchestra. I love all that stuff. Never been to an opera. So, I mean, I talk about everyday things. I even have a picture. In fact, let me see if I can do this. Hold on. I want to show you just as an example. I'm going to open this up here. Okay. It might lag a little bit. I'm hoping that it does not. Let's see here. Got to go. I'm gonna do it from the Wolfpack chat. So we're gonna go ahead. Let me see if I can open this up. I'll have to just take a screenshot. So hold on. So here we go. Oh. Yeah. Did you hear that noise? So I'm going to show you a couple things real quick, then we're on to serious business. So I want to thank you. Yeah, you're hearing the screenshots right now. So I'm going to show you a couple of these things. I'm going to drop them right in to the... There we go. Now I can get off of Telegram. And I apologize for that. I wasn't thinking about doing this, but I'm like, you know what? It's actually a pretty good idea. So let me go to my desktop. And then let me go ahead and add that one. Boom. Check this out. Oh, no. So I accidentally highlighted it a little bit. But look at this. Look at my little dude. Yeah. I shared that this morning. Good morning, Wolfpack. We're live from 11 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time on these and many other channels. I shared that also on Facebook. I won't be doing that very often, but a lot of the people on Facebook just didn't know that my show is no longer airing on my profile because Facebook, for no violation and no explanation, has rescinded my ability to do that. And so that's one of those things. And then I even do this, man. I do good mornings and stuff. And I do good nights. Before you get all cozy and tucked into bed, please pray in Our Father for the social conquest of Christ the King, for the grand restoration of Christendom, and for God's continuous blessing on Paleocrat Diaries and the Team Tiny Dancer family. Oh, and don't forget, we go live tomorrow from 11 to 1. Until then, sweet dreams, Wolfpack. And you got to see this picture. Look at that thing, that Guardian Angel's mega buff arm. Look at that. The sword is a little bit off perspective. You know, the sword is struggling, but the rest of it, I'm like, man, dude, I bet my Guardian Angel looks like that. So, dude, this Guardian Angel's mega buff, dude. So, but the thing is, I wanted to share that because, oh, dude, look at that. Look at his face. Man, I love that guy. Okay. So my whole point, you got to go check it out. It's a whole bunch of fun. All right. That is on Telegram. So we're going to go ahead here. Oh, let me go ahead and window capture that bugger out. Here we go. Ah, there's my mini me. You got to go get your coffee ready right now because we're about to do the Wolfpack chat or the Wolfpack song. Okay, so you got to go get that coffee, whatever you got, because we're about to howl at the sun, move forward with some really amazing news, really interesting stuff, as well as practical things that we can do, and all the more reason that we should feel compelled to do these things. Not just that we should, not just that we could, but that we must. that we must, and that especially now. We should have all along, but we must now. And so you're not going to want to go anywhere. You're going to want to share this. Make sure, of course, go to paleocratdiaries.com for more information. We'll be back as soon as this very short break is done. It's just a promo for the website and for the show. And so listen real closely, but when we come back, we are going to howl at the sun, so you better have that coffee ready. You're watching Paleocrat Diaries with Jeremiah Bannister. It's February. It's Friday, January 22nd. I was professional for almost 15 seconds. Love this video? What a coincidence. I do too. Now head on over to paleocratdiaries.com for more videos, blogs, book and movie reviews, even Team Tiny Dancer stuff. And don't forget to check out our new members and services pages. It's how I pay for my kids to attend Catholic school. Until next time, memento mori. And there we go. And there we go. And here we go. Dance around. Let the world know that you are alive. That you are a member of the wolf pack. And that we are howling at the sun every single day. Created by God for great things. Here we go. Do not be ashamed anymore. Do not. Refuse it. Get behind us, Satan. No more. It's a time of war. And we are more than conquerors. Let's go. I love you, Jesus. Thank you for saving me, God. Thank you. Thank you. I love you guys. I love you guys. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful for you. I am so thankful for the show. I am so thankful to Jesus Christ. I'm not ashamed. I refuse to be ashamed, and I refuse to allow the world any longer to make me feel as if that is something, as if he is something, as if we are something that we should be ashamed of. Because we live in those times, don't we? How many of you remember what you were and what you believed even 10 years ago? How many of you remember what you believed about God, what you believed about the Bible, and that those things, many of those things, had a history of nearly 2,000 years? Saints died for this. They bled for this. They put their lives on the line all the time. They studied it. It was their entire world. Their world was one. Their world was one where even the way that the city was structured was such that at the center of it all was the church and the steeple. The spires, the ones that reached high to the sky, the ones that were taller than everything else, because it was a symbol. It was a symbol that showed all of the world and showed God what was the most important thing. What is it now? Is it the steeple? Is that even something of consideration anymore? More recently, how many of you believed things about the world, about humans, about the world, about what is sin and what's not sin, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, the way that society ought to be, and that over the last 15 years, 20 years, maybe even, let's even go back further. Let's say over the last 25 that we've seen a crazy kind of shift. And if you admit this, would you say that insofar as you have changed and have abandoned your traditions, if you have, or if you did for a time, that you can look back and you can identify what it was that caused you to do that? For me, when I went through all that, I got so far, I became an atheist. I was an atheist for almost 8 years. I walked away completely. I was an enemy of the church. I bashed it all the time. Some people tuning in, if they still can stomach the show, if they still tune in for love of me or my family, they know this. They may be confused, frustrated, angry, I don't know, bewildered by the change in me. But the thing is, if I go back and think about it, and I say, what were the primary things that really changed my views on different issues? Social pressure. Social pressure coming from social media, coming from college, when I went to college. My peer group. It wasn't the church anymore. It wasn't the scripture. It wasn't tradition anymore. It wasn't the democracy of the dead and the saints that died and put their lives on the line, lived amazing lives as an example for all of time. It wasn't them. I didn't want to be a bigot anymore. I didn't want to be old-fashioned or outdated. I was nervous about that. And you've seen what happens. What happens to those who did not change and they retained those beliefs? Well, it's gone further from being just simply old-fashioned or outdated. And now it's in the world of them calling you a Nazi. Them calling you some kind of a xenophobe. Homophobe. And by the way, those phobias, the idea of labeling it such, that's a strategic maneuver. Read After the Ball. If you haven't read After the Ball about the LGBT, ideas about LGBT and how to further integrate it and to increase acceptance. If you have not read that, you should. I know some people would say, oh no, come on, you're really promoting that. I say, look at each and every one of the ideas in there and you tell me it hasn't happened. Tell me. As somebody who studies media, these guys know what they're talking about. Look at all the shows. Think of the shows that you've watched. Think of the way that they've influenced you. Be honest with yourself. Also, sin. Sin. The kinds of sins that I was doing in my life was such that, the idea that you can maintain in your head or in your life and in your heart certain traditional beliefs and values and yet wallow in sin, it's a joke. It's a joke. I was doing things that I knew deep inside were sinful. In fact, it was one of those things that I even downplayed for a long time. I made videos talking about what led to me ultimately becoming an atheist. What led to that? And I've seen some really great analysis, by the way. One of those, Charles Taylor, right? Charles Taylor, and there's a guy who wrote a book, How Not to Be Secular, because Charles Taylor wrote Secular Age. It's a massive book. It's like 900 pages. And then you've got a guy who wrote basically a synopsis of that. I think he teaches over at Calvin College in Grand Rapids here. I'm pretty sure. Protestant guy. And Taylor's a Catholic. But it's a great analysis of the history of how people change and how the church even through the years has changed with reformations and counter-reformations, things like that. The ever-expanding laity and the things to do with the laity, the loosening of the belt over the years and why that happened. Stuff like that. But in that analysis, I'm not sure, I don't recall in any of that analysis, the idea that people were sinning and that sin has an effect on you. It's almost like a rationalistic explanation that's simply saying, well, there were certain ideas floating around and they would say, well, that's lumped in with the things that are acceptable to modern times. And I go, well, okay, insofar as that's concerned, then we've hit the nail on the head. Because how many things that were not acceptable, they were unacceptable for a long time. How many of those things over the years in your life have become acceptable? Maybe you kicked against it for a while instead of, well, that's crazy. I think that's wrong. But then after a while, more and more people, you started seeing it on TV or on social media. And maybe you started doing it yourself. And slowly but surely, you start to disavow ideas, to disavow practices that made you what you were for a very long time. You're not alone. There's no shame in admitting this. Statistically, you're probably part of it. But it's okay. In fact, it's redeemable. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But I don't want to just be preachy, because we got news. We got news we got to deal with. And I want to say first and foremost, that I like, for one, I like this picture. I like this picture, not just because I'm a huge fan of ballet. I love ballet. But also because I think it's indicative of the time. People might not like my use of the phrase "the spirit of the age." I use it in a specific way, okay? And understanding where we are within things, and that history is using what's present in the moment, the tools at its disposal, as well as the things that have been used before. Okay, so it's built from this kind of a thing. And I look and I say, where are we right now? We're in a crazy world. I've been talking about it all week long. This idea that we are now entering a wild phase in the death spiral of civilization. We're in like the cesspool. Caesarism is coming, by the way. The Caesars are coming. In fact, it's funny because people would talk and say, and I even saw a video going through the philosophy of Oswald Spengler. And I share a lot of things in common with that idea, that view of looking at history and high culture, civilization, things like that. I disagree with what the highest moral is, of like valor or bravery, stuff like that. I do think that that's extremely important. But my worldview, my idea of morality and ethics is not premised on the same thing. At the same time, I look at it and I say, it's funny because in the analysis of Spengler on this channel, it talked about Donald Trump as being the strong man, if not a Caesar himself, a kind of prelude to him. And I can agree with that, the latter, in that if you have a world where the institutions are toast, you don't even believe in them anymore. Who sits there and says, man, the church is really, really rocking. They're really doing good. The church is standing up for what's right in the face of tyranny and evil. Who actually says this? Most of the time, those who do would be those that if you begin going through their beliefs and values and the practices that they have and the worldview that they entertain, they're the very people that we're talking about earlier who've changed their minds. People who maybe were extremely influenced by My So-Called Life on MTV. I'm not even joking about that, by the way. But who says that? Who's looking and saying, Congress is awesome. Congress is a bulwark of freedom. Who says that? Who talks about the media as if the media is reporting on the truth? How many people even trust in it? It's just dropped like a ton of bricks. Trust in all of these institutions. But it's interesting because the people like the video that talks about, well, maybe it's opening up. The idea being that the advent, right? The emergence of Caesarism, the emergence of the Caesar, right? In the death spiral of democracy, the death spiral of republics. It's going to happen. Civilization, the emergence itself of civilization is a symptom of decline. It's inevitable. And so you sit there and you say, when that happens and people don't trust the institutions anymore, when they're overrun with technology and trying to compute everything in the brain and say that if it doesn't compute that way, it's not real. Once you get to that place, you enter this realm of dystopia. You don't trust the institutions. So what do? You have personality cults. Personality cults show the emergence of the Caesar. It sets the conditions for it. So even if Trump, and look, I'm one of those, I agree, it was a guy on Newsmax recently that said in many ways, and the media and the Democrats don't understand this, Trump was actually a lot nicer than even I would want him to be. I wanted him to be the strong man. That's why I voted for him. I wanted him to be the strong man. But he wasn't. He took on a lot of brave issues. But there was a lot, we could say Julian Assange, for example. It's a major issue. We could say the Proud Boys as an example. That's a major issue. You could talk about so many of the different issues that were present for him, that he caved on Syria. He caved on Syria. So there's a whole number of things that I wish that he was a lot harder on. I wish that he would have been sharper and not made it so much about himself. I knew that was part of the deal. That's a price tag of voting for a man like Trump. I accepted that from the get-go because that's a necessary thing to make it through. You have to be a little bit of a megalomaniac to break through that. But the price tag is you can't just drop it like that either. He doesn't all of a sudden become somebody who is seeing everybody else and not himself. It's not how people work. It's a trade-off. But we're in a world now where he wasn't doing those things where it was super intense, where he was really standing his ground on these things. Take the Russiagate stuff. How many times did he not release the unredacted material? He waited till the day he left? How about JFK? Remember that? He said he was going to release the information that we had on JFK. Lo and behold, of course, and I predicted this. It said you're going to have deep staters, FBI, different people. They're going to come in, different groups, orgs. They're going to come in and they're going to say, well, please don't do this because it will diminish the trust in our institution. And lo and behold, the day of, within hours of the release of that. And did he just say, no, we need to know what you've been doing. You guys were involved in Crossfire Hurricane. You're involved in all this other stuff. If you were involved or you're to blame in any way with the stuff going around with JFK, dude, we need to know this. But he wasn't the strong man. Curiously enough, the people who thought that Trump was a strong man are celebrating, strangely enough, the existence of a strong man right now. Joe Biden. You want to talk about somebody who's a Caesar? Look at what's going on there. They're going to make a lot of this permanent, by the way. But I went on all that time only to really say this, is that when we think of the way that the conditions we're living through right now, when we're thinking about these things and we're thinking of our role in them, I want you to remember this picture. I want you to imagine that there's a train coming, full speed ahead. The smoke is rising. It's one of those old ones. Smoke is rising, and you can feel the ground begin to rumble. You've got the stones. Kind of drifting off the wood there. The metal shaking, any of those loose nails. And as it approaches closer and closer and closer and closer, you do this. Beautiful. Brave. Prepared. Because that's where we are. Facing a crisis that we cannot avoid. We can't stop what's happening now. We cannot stop what's happening now. But we must have valor. We must be brave. We must be unflinching in our commitment. Because it's in times like this that everything's on the line. Everything. We sacrificed and sacrificed and sacrificed and sacrificed. All the while kind of doing a lullaby in our minds to convince ourselves that we had not become sellouts. And now that the pipers come piping, he's saying, look, you got to pay me some loot. You traded your birthright for some porridge. Now all of a sudden we're like, no, we want the birthright back. Nice try. Nice try. That's why my position, a lot of people are like, dude, your position, you're like, you're not wanting to go back a couple hundred years and try to scramble to 1776 again. No, I'm not 1776 in this thing. People betrayed 1776. For all of its pros, for all of its cons, the truth is that our civilization completely betrayed it. At least in its principles as understood by conservative people, by conservative apologists. I contend that it's a continuous outgrowth, that it was an inevitable thing. But it's where we are no matter what. And that's why I'm not looking backward, I'm looking forward. I'm bringing history with me and saying, we got a big vision ahead. We've got a project ahead. It's going to demand stuff of you. It demands stuff of me. I've had to set stuff aside in my life to make sacrifices. What sacrifices have you made? Are you making sacrifices now? And if not, what the heck is wrong with you? What's wrong with you? You waiting for somebody to come? You waiting for Superman to swoop down? Are you still trusting the plan? We got work to do. And if the rule that we followed brought us to this, what use is the rule? Showed it yesterday. It's totally true. The rule that we followed brought you to this. And this is why people can say, well, but we didn't follow the original ideas. Haven't you read David Barton? Of course I've read David Barton. Of course I've read him. I've read Gary DeMar. I've read Russ Dooney. I've read Russell Kirk. I've read a lot of these people. Scalia. But I sit there and I say, this is an outgrowth. Rationalism, materialism. The idea that this is all kind of enlightenment. Ever expansive. The idea of a manifest destiny. Civilization. All of these things. Look back. We suffer from this idea that because, and this is, God made us such that, let's say we live 70 to 80 years, right? So 70 to 80 years, whatever, people are alive. They open their eyes. They're not even really figuring stuff out till they get a little bit older. And then when they do, and they start figuring stuff out, most of the time they're limited to the imminent frame of the moment, the present. They watch current events. Very few will go back and try to put into context what they're experiencing right now by looking at history. History books are boring, aren't they? I love them. I love them. I love studying history like this. But we aren't original. Every single one of these civilizations, every single one, these high cultures, they went through this. Even a technological phase, even modernity. It's probably a fluke that we even call ourselves or label what we are in right now modernity. Because each one of these cycles has a phase of that. Every single high culture has a phase of modernity where they begin with the techniques. They begin with the technologies that were available at the time. It mesmerizes them. They no longer, their art changes. The emphasis that they have on different art forms, it changes. The idea that they're looking inwardly to their hearts and to God, instead looking outwardly to the physical realm, the natural realm. The whole idea, the emphasis, the focus, all of it has changed. The role of religion changed. Sexual ethics changed. Nothing is new here. The idea of tradition giving way to the idea of progress. The notion that people, rather than being cultural units, instead become economic units. You're a worker, a laborer. You're defined more by your job than by your faith or by your name, your tribe. None of that is new to us. We're just the most recent incarnation of this. We're just the most recent example of this in history. That's it. And it's always because of the breakdown of the initial idea. Because the initial idea, each and every time, the initial idea, there's something wrong. There's something that's, or as it goes along, there's something that ends up just kind of going crazy, and it causes everything else to go out of whack. And that's why we have to both have ideas that go back and go forward, and that recognize that we are right here in the right now, and that we are created for times like this, for a moment like this. And you can say that every single moment. It's easy not to be a Democrat, yeah, especially for listeners on this show. It's an easy thing, isn't it? Like, so we're at this place where we're like, okay, the train is coming. The train is coming. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Are we going to jump off? There's going to be people who will. They're going to realize with the examples that I'm about to show you, they're going to realize that this battle is too much for them. And the truth is, it probably is. The vast majority of people in this world are part of the masses, the average, the people who just go along in their life. They're entertained. They got the lullaby lulling them to sleep every single day, sitting there, getting the dopamine. Oh, look at this. Look at this new thing. Did you see this? It's new. It glows. Do you see that? Are you that? If you are, stop. Stop. We need to be better than this. But what are we? So there are some people, the normies, they're going to sit there and they're going to say, but I'm comfortable, Jeremiah. I'm comfortable, Paleocrat. What am I supposed to do? Be brave. Be brave. Be valiant. Be exceptional. In fact, be who you are. Be who God created. Because you can say, well, those are such big things. What do you mean by that? And I say, be who you are. Be who God made you to be. And God, and like we said yesterday, God didn't make you so that you could sit there and be a fat slob clicking on a TV that's glowing at you as you watch the whole world die around you. God didn't make you for that. Wake up. Wake up. You've been asleep for a long time. They have lulled you to sleep for a long time. You've been living a commercial. Wake up. Post-millennial. When asked why Biden broke his own mask rules yesterday, his press secretary said, quote, he was celebrating a historic day in our country. We have bigger things to worry about. There's so many examples of this, by the way. It makes it easy, though, doesn't it? Like, at least when we see this, the only reason we would have to want to join those people, to want to join, because there's how many examples have we talked about of this exact same thing, this exact same stuff, where they make a rule for everybody else, then they violate it like that. A rule for you, a rule for thee, but not for me. So the only reason maybe they would say, well, no, they wouldn't even be enticed to do that. Normies wouldn't. They wouldn't be enticed to fall prey to this under the impression that they could get away with it, because by and large, their own people, the normies on their side, are going to regulate it because it's a freaking cult. It's only the aristocracy of the left that can get away with this. That's it. The World Health Organization has now released guidance. This is Dr. David Samadi, MD. Guidance to laboratories around the world to reduce the cycle count in PCR tests to get a more accurate representation of COVID cases. The current cycle was much too high and resulting in any particle being declared a positive case. Do you remember when I talked about this? I've been saying this for freaking months. You know how many times I've had YouTube sitting there putting things at the bottom? Oh, for the most factual stuff, because this guy's lying, calling me a freaking liar. I knew this crap. I hope you love this show, by the way. I hope you love it. I am not leading you astray. I will not. We got to put those suckers, man. We got to put them on the spot. We got to say, look, you scumbags coming on to our social media platforms, coming on, flagging us for false news. Oh, they're trying to sow doubt about the tests. The creator of the test itself had problems with, for example, Fauci. We've been saying this all along, kiddos. We were right again, all along. So shut up! We're done with this crap! Man, I'm so... I'm mad. You don't even understand. I am... Every single day, I gotta see this. Every single day. Every single day. And I know people that will use this to be like, well, look at the hypocrisy. I do too. I'm showing you right here the example. We have been right all along. You have been right all along. And not just about this, but what I was talking about earlier with religion. You were right all along. You were deceived by the same people and the same mediums that have been pushing this crap down your throat for months, almost a year. The same people. They need to be publicly shamed. Bring back the stocks. We need the farmers. we need the tomatoes right now. We need tomatoes big time. I want to peg them in the freaking face. I want to mock them publicly as they walk through the streets. Publicly shame these people and say, look at what you've done. Look at what you've done. You know how many people I know who've gotten in trouble, who've gotten censored, who've gotten removed entirely, their entire platform, which a lot of them, that's how they were making their money. That was their career, years of their life. And what happened? What happened? Oh, this post goes against the World Health Organization. The cycle was way too high. Wow, that's really neat, man. That's really neat. Scumbags, man. No, I think Samadi one of our guys. By the way, Samadi one of our guys. I don't know Samadi. I'm not saying him. Bring out Fauci. Bring out Birx. Bring them out. Load up the stocks, man. Bring in the farmers. Bring in the gardeners. We need those tomatoes. Stat. Bring in the pig farmers. Bring in the slop. Dunk their faces in it. Let them suck on it. It's an easy way to vent, right? I mean, it's harmless, isn't it? I mean, it's not like we're sitting there and trying to, have people spy on them and tell them that they can't work anymore and making sure they don't have a bank account. The kind of stuff they do to us right now. Make it so that all of our work, we cannot reach people. All the while pretending with the magic trick, oh, you really do have free speech. I've just redefined it so that it no longer includes you. Yeah, man. What a magic trick. How about this one? Notice something different about CNN. Where did their COVID-19 death counter go? That's really weird, man. Isn't that really weird, guys? The death counter is gone. And you're seeing conflicting signals, by the way. You're seeing conflicting signals, as we have all along. But we're seeing it a lot right now because we all know for a fact it's not even up for speculation anymore. Now they will continue. The left and the powers that be will continue to make it so that if you say things like I am about to say, you can get in trouble. And that is that there is no doubt at all, zero, that COVID has been used as a political tool. It's not even a question. You think, what are the statistical odds that all of a sudden Joe Biden is inaugurated? All of a sudden, you got the people on TV that are like those lights, the lights in the mall in D.C. They're like Biden's arms, his loving embrace that's just wrapping around us, pinching their nipples. Those same people are the ones that we're talking about. Trump. Trump's to blame. We're going to put up the numbers game every single day. And then all of a sudden, Biden comes in. Next thing you know, you got folks coming and say, it looks like it's plateauing. And you know what? It kind of looks like maybe the lockdowns have been a bad idea. We should all go back to work real quick. Screw you. Oh, we shall go back to work. But we're adding a layer of complexity to the notion of what we do with our lives, because we shall work really hard at ruining you, at conquering you. You are at this point our enemy. We got to love our enemies. This is true. We must pray for them, for the conversion of their souls, because they're obviously satanic. Obviously. At the same time, you were able to love your enemy when people were, getting the old kind of thing or the kind of thing. And you're like, the last words, would you like to say anything about maybe repenting to God? And it didn't matter if you did or not. It was letting the world know you were truly sad. And that's a loving opportunity to give them, by the way. To give them one more chance to apologize before they meet their maker. But either way, it's loving. And I use that as an example simply to say that even in extraordinary, extreme circumstances, you're still loving. You're still loving. But they're our enemy, aren't they? They're people that have ruined individuals' lives. And if somebody's nervous and says, well, they're not an enemy, then I'd say, then categorize what they are. They've literally ruined people's lives. Kids have committed suicide because of this. More people commit suicide right now. Depression through the roof. Homelessness through the roof. All of this stuff. And why? Why? All these churches shut down. Sacraments, weddings and funerals shut down. Why? For those loving arms of Joe Biden. Because they hate you. And plus, if you don't recognize them as an enemy, you don't have the opportunity to love them as one. Accept it. Embrace it like Joe Biden's loving arms. Academics from Duke, Harvard, and Johns Hopkins have concluded that there could be around 1 million excess deaths over the next 2 decades as a result of the lockdowns. That's kind of weird. You know who else has been saying that? I'm like going to be Incredible Hulk here. Am I turning green, guys? Am I green yet? I'm not even lying, man. You don't even know. You do not even understand the level of my fury. Who has been saying this? That the cure is worse than the disease. Millions of excess deaths over the next 2 decades as a result of this. But they didn't care. They didn't care because they're in this scary cult. Because they've been watching. You know what it is? They sit down and they watch dystopian crap all the time. They're primed constantly. These people are beholden to everything that glows. That is their God. Their God is whatever glows at them, whatever's able to be photoshopped or CGI'd in front of their eyes. That is God. That's what they believe. The doctors are their priests, their high priesthood. The scientists, the high priesthood, Pharisees and Sadducees. The mainstream media, those are their evangelists. It's a joke. You got this, another reason. Military source in D.C. For the last week, my battalion has been sleeping on the floor in the Senate cafeteria. Today, the Senate kicked us out and moved us to a cold parking garage. 5,000 soldiers, 1 power outlet, 1 bathroom. This is how Joe Biden's America treats soldiers. What do people expect? And you know what? The leadership in the military, they're not even going to care. They're not going to care. And why would I say I got flack? Remember, was it 2 weeks ago? I was talking about I had a meeting, I had a get together with some friends of mine. We were talking about what's going to happen next and what's all this. And somebody was talking about the idea that the military, that we on the right, we'd be able to really rock it out because the military. And I said, dude, if you think that the military is grandpa's military, you got it all wrong. It ain't grandpa's military anymore. It's not grandpa's military. It's stunning, in fact.
Yeah, that's good right there. Man, yeah, you want to have fun here. Which division is this? So, Maryland National Guard, Montana National Guard, Nevada National Guard. Well, hey, I'm talking to National Guard. That's an honor to meet you. Nice to meet you guys. I heard you guys got kicked downstairs. We sure did. All right, man. You mind if I talk to you guys? Absolutely. Hey, everybody, got your guys' attention? Hey, guys, my name's Madison Cawthorn. I heard they kicked your asses down here, so we brought some pizza if anybody wants any.
We have to be those people in the gap. We have to be those people in the gap because the truth is, for those on down the line, right? It's a hierarchical structure, the military. It has to be. But we can see that the people at the top, this is great. Scott Greer shared over at Revolver News, shared, this ain't your grandfather's conservative military anymore, over at Revolver. I got flack for saying this. People are like, oh no! All the Q-tards sitting there, no! You're wrong, man. The military is going to come in. It's going to be super dope. The generals, man, they're on the side. The storm is coming. Wrong. Where were the whistleblowers? Where were they? You got some magical explanation for that? Like the FBI and the CIA, treacherous organizations, by the way, treacherous entities involved in some of the most corrupt, despicable stuff in the world. They aren't a few bad apples. It's a few good apples. End of the story. End of the debate. Period. Same thing with the leadership. Now, that's not to say, again, a few good apples. There's a few good apples in there. I don't want to say that all the leadership in the military, that they're a bunch of scumbags like Vindman. But if you're fooling yourself into the idea, how many of you, when you saw, or people you know, how many people that you know, that when you saw all the military going on and everybody, you know, the thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people inside Washington, D.C., coming up on January 20th, how many really thought deep down inside, I think that they're there to support Trump and they're going to rock it out? How many? Did you get emails? These people are very, very, very ignorant. It's woeful. It's tragic because it spreads like a wicked virus, by the way. This show is part of the immunotherapy. Because you can't say that anything we've said so far on this show. You can't. People cannot say this about our show. We have not fallen prey to this kind of wizardry. And we won't. It's easy not to be a Dem for another reason. America's back. Syrian children. Oh, God. You got your old LGBT, BLM, rainbow drone dropping the bombs. America's back. Yeah, we're going to kill the kids. Yeah, we're going to bomb marriage ceremonies. Yeah, we're going to deny it. We're going to lie. Like they did for years. Lie. Venomous. It's crazy. You know, there was the leak that had to do with the cables that were between leaders in the military and leaders in our government, because we would have individuals, and you can actually go back. The internet's a remarkable thing in this regard. You can go back and you can say, okay, so if you have a cable written on a certain day and a response from the government on the same day, and then that week or that day, you have a leader like Barack Obama or Joe Biden go up and begin talking about that war, that theater of war, wherever that was from. And they're talking about, man, we got it under control. We got the bad guys on the ropes. They're running and cowering from our amazing strength, blah, blah, blah. And you go back and you look and you say, wow, it's kind of weird because the boots on the ground were telling you that we're in a bad place. To sum it up, to paraphrase it, it would be like the person over the person in Secret Service or whatever over the walkie-talkie that said, we're outnumbered, talking about the people coming in on the 6th. That wasn't something. Imagine that. You got to imagine. We've heard that. We've heard that audio where they admit this. Right? We're aware of this. And yet at the same time, imagine if on the exact same day, the leadership in Washington comes out and says everything's perfectly fine. The only reason why we're handling it, it's totally dope. Everything's wonderful. The only reason why they couldn't is it was domestic. And you have to think about what that means. That if something happens over in, let's say, Afghanistan, I have a video. And man, I wish I could show it. The only problem is there's a song with it, and it would be demonetized. I'll have to share it on Telegram. I have 2 videos having to do with drones and the way the United States has used them and bombed weddings, bombed all different sorts of people, then lied about it repeatedly. No, we didn't do it. It was only the bad guys. We got Al-Qaeda. We got the Taliban. It was like a whole bunch of them there. And all the people on the ground are like, dude, we're burying kids right now, dude. Entire families, entire names gone. And they lied. They completely lied to us. America's back. It's easy not to be a leftist. But here's the problem. It's a good transitional period, too. Technofrog over at Telegram said this. It was shared an image. Said, so let me make sure I have this right. People from all over the country can go to D.C. by the thousands to celebrate an event that's important to them, but visiting families for the holidays was immoral and wrong. Rules are for thee, not for Gretchen. But I like what Technofrog said. Change the narrative. This isn't hypocrisy, although it is that. It's an exercise of raw power to make you submit. The message is that the rules apply to you, not to them, that you don't matter. Ignore their rules and they lose their power. Now, that's only partially true. You can say, well, I'm not going to obey the rule. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to open up my business. You know how many people lost their business and they wanted to do that? Do you know how many people lost their business because they did that? They have institutional power. We've shown all week, we've shown that pyramid structure that breaks down the different levels of institutions. The left, the uniparty, the satanic globalist elite, they have complete control of that pyramid. There is no level of that pyramid that is primarily operated or even a majority saturated by conservative, populist, religious right people. Zero. So they can do this. She did it with BLM. She went out and told people that if you went and you protested in your cars, if you were in your car driving around in the Capitol, you were a super spreader. And then what does she do? Oh, because you're not wearing masks. She called you a racist. A racist. And yet, she goes to the BLM protest. She goes there. And what ends up happening? She's kneeling down next to some black people, and they're not wearing masks. That's fine. Do you know why? It was a historical moment. Just like Joe Biden. They said, oh, but this is a really important thing. I remember I talked to a relative of mine. I love him. But we disagreed on this. He said, well, this is a really important issue, and if you don't get out there and protest, you won't have the momentum of the moment. And I thought, so what if it's a freaking pandemic and people are going to be dying left and right and everything else you're saying is true? Then screw that crap. You can only believe that, by the way, if you've completely abandoned God. That's it. They're like, oh no, the moment. If you believe in God and you believe in providence, then you ain't going to talk that way. Moments come, moments go, causes remain. The march for truth, the march for righteousness and beauty marches on. But they're like, no, we need to harness it right now. We can't let the moment disappear. And it doesn't matter if we end up breaking every rule that we forced on people at the expense of losing their jobs. That we forced on people at the expense of little Johnny blowing his brains out. Days coming. Bring out the stocks. But it's not just them. And this is where this show, I mean, it's easy, guys. This is easy pickings to go and talk about the Dems, isn't it? And in some ways, all we are doing is just throwing tomatoes, isn't it? What about the Republican Party? This is going to be a huge conversation for a long time, in fact. The Republican Party, cause of death, the Republican Party. You know, we're in a place now. Man, there's a movement afoot, even in Michigan, to take on folks like, Peter Meyer. Peter Meyer committed political suicide. He knows it. He's a buffoon, by the way. The guy's a complete goon. His time is limited. He can have all the establishment people come out from all he wants. His time is limited, guys. Not least in part because, oh boy, and the wolf pack is onto him. I know a lot of Patriot leaders, man. They ain't messing around, and they're not taking any crap from the establishment. Now, I'll tell you this too. You know, I've heard the explanations for due process and stuff like that. I won't get into any more details beyond that. But I will say this, is that even those people that we can say, well, that's the establishment of the party, even those people at the helm right now, they know that even if they support Peter Meyer, even if they're like, dude, dog, look, I know I'm your friend, but man, dude, you really did it this time. That they cannot stop what's coming. They knew it was coming. They prepared for it. And the best they can do is to say, we'll let you stand up and make your case. And there we are again at the metaphoric idea of somebody's life, political life on the line, the executioners all standing by, and the priest saying, would you like to repent? Will it stop the execution? No, your career is over. You're done. But out of love, right? Out of love and out of order. We're being lawful. There's no lawlessness here. There's no promotion of lawlessness here. We don't need it. These people, man, they're dumb. And they don't understand this. And Trump doesn't understand it either. You know, I've seen a lot of people, a lot of the people that were on the forefront, not conservative Inc. people. So people are like, well, Shapiro and, Charlie Kirk and, the whole gang over there at Parler. If they're talking like that, you're missing the boat. You don't know who the primary drivers are for this. If people say Sean Hannity, man, I'll have, that puke in the back of my throat, that indigestion that kind of tastes like really rotten orange juice. But they're not understanding that the people at the front, the people on the front lines, grassroots people, the ones who were inactive for a long time and were activated. They were activated the moment that they saw Trump come down the escalator, that those people are thankful, and I'm included, thankful, supportive, still maintain that he's the best president, maybe of all time. Okay, I sit there, I say, look, he should be on Mount Rushmore, right? We need him up there. I agree with that. At the same time, looking at stuff like this and saying, wait a second, so Trump supporters, a lot of them in prison, watching him pardon Israeli spies and rappers, including rappers that made videos where they're choking down a guy in a MAGA hat and making it that the guy in the MAGA hat is the Klan and got him hanging in the background in the video. And right there, that's another one of those decisions that you say, you don't understand your base. What are you doing? It's the effect of Jared Kushner. It is. It is. Like who's the one advising him on that? Who's the one saying, "Oh, that's a good idea. Why don't you go, why don't you go try to find people who never supported you, who never believed in you, who never did anything for your cause? You need to go to them because I think if we do a couple of these iconic symbolic pardons, man, they're really going to come and support you and the effort and the movement in the future." They don't understand. They don't understand the moment. In fact, they don't understand culture. They don't understand political science. They don't understand race. They don't. And it may be in part because they're all afraid to talk about that stuff. I'm not. You listen to this show, you're going to hear about it. You're going to be educated in this way, and you'll be able to look at stuff like this and say, what the heck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Israeli spies, why? Rappers that hated him, why? Why them? A limited number. You know how many people should have and could have gotten a pardon? Do you know? Why? And that's one of those things, man. That's the idealism that's taken over. That's not the realism. That's not the man of action. That's the lot of talky, not enough walky. But that's also a good thing. And look, I've said it before. It's actually okay. Remember, wasn't I talking about, I forget what brought it up, but the idea that there are people who, I remember my buddy Mike Z. I won't say his last name, but Mike Z. He was my best friend. Okay? He's the guy who got me interested in the video game Jaws. I didn't like the movie. I was even scared by the video game, to be honest. I was too scared to watch the movie. But we were really close friends. A little bit outcast, both kind of nerdy, And he would come over and spend the night. I'd go to his house and spend the night. We were really close. And we didn't fight like me and Roberto and Ricky and the others that were my friends too. We didn't fight that way. We were really close. And one day, we found out he was leaving. He was moving. And I was really upset. But I didn't know he was leaving. And so I didn't get mad in the moment. In fact, our last time that we were together, I wasn't upset at all. It was one of the best sleepovers I've ever had in my life. And in the morning after he left, my mom told me, Jeremiah, Mike and his mom, they're actually leaving today. I was taken off guard by that. Now, I was upset, but I wasn't upset at Mike. But there are other situations where I know somebody is leaving. Take Roberto. I knew Roberto was leaving. I knew that he was going to be gone, that he was going to a different school, that I probably wouldn't see him again. Or if I did, it would be very rare. And I was clever enough, even as a kid, to know that if somebody's going to another school and they're around a different social group, it's not going to be the same as if we're together every day. My kids experience this. They have friends in public school, and those friends are meaningful and important to them, but they bring them over, and it used to be when they were in classes together and they were in the school together that it was they were part of the same social environment. And there's an effect from that. But when Roberto left, when he was leaving, and when Rick Beck was leaving, when they were leaving, I remember getting angry. I knew that they were leaving, and I got angry. And it made it easier to let go. I don't even think that as a kid that I processed that that's actually a defense mechanism. And it doesn't say, in fact, it kind of says that that you really truly care about that person, and you really truly will miss that person, and you really truly wish that they were still there. But in order to just keep on keeping on, you get mad. It makes it easier to let go. And I think we're seeing a lot of that on the right, man. It's a bummer that Trump lost, isn't it? I can and shall be critical. I shall. I always have been to a degree. At the same time, moving forward, I'm going to be critical in many ways, but you have to understand that it's like Roberto. It's like Ricky Beck. And less like Mike Z. And I know that it's the same for a lot of other people. Because we're going to be entering into a phase of a Thunderdome. The GOP is toast. The leadership in the GOP is toast. The establishment, we know where they stand now. Mike Pence, good luck, champ. Nice try. The idea that Mike Pence is going to run, good luck, dude. He sabotaged himself. He's like a Dan Quayle. You're never going to hear from that guy again. Who cares about him? If he's going to do anything at all, maybe he'll become a Democrat. Maybe he'll become a Democrat. Mike Pence. But he ain't doing much in the future of the GOP. They can try all day long. Maybe he'll run as a libertarian. By the looks of it, since the advent of Yo Jorgensen, it seems like the Libertarian Party as a party is kind of, uniparty deep state-ish. Even before that, Gary Johnson time. Maybe he'd be a good fit over there. But not in the Republican Party. But you're going to have people, you're going to have the establishment, they're going to hold on the best they can. They're going to have their town hall meetings. Trump is going to have his rallies. Does he have one, the 26th? He has another rally, I think, in Florida. So he's going to keep on going. He's going to do his thing. But that is a brand that you got to sit there and you got to say, how is it going to play out? Number one, is he going to live for another 4 years? That's one thing. You want to put all your eggs in that basket. In the basket, by the way, that unless it demonstrates that it learns from the mistakes that it made. Here's one quick way. This right here is the litmus test. Is Kushner still around? Is Kushner still around? If Kushner's still around, he hasn't learned from a single mistake. Is he allowing his daughter to have an undue influence on him? Mistake. Is he thinking that he needs to have some people from the establishment inside the administration, maybe even in high positions, like the John Boltons of the world? Is he still surrounding himself with those folks? And even if he starts his own party, do we believe that it's going to be anyway? Was it the Bull Moose Party? Teddy Roosevelt? What's it going to be? Is it going to be like a Ross Perot moment? It's in the lineage of this. He was the most successful of that. Can you do it twice from a new party? After 4 years, it depends on what the lessons learned are. But no matter what, we're going to see the Thunderdome. The Thunderdome on the right, where these different competing views are coming together and saying, well, this is what conservatism is. Well, this is what it means to be loving freedom and liberty. This is what it means to believe in tradition. And you're going to have these disagreements. You're going to have weirdos like this guy, Dr. Jose Luis Feliciano. The new right-wing platform. Amnesty to everyone illegally here. Let violent criminals out of prison. Decriminalize all drugs. Give more money to black people. And it's worse. It goes into a lot more than that. It goes into a lot more than that. That's going to be one brand. You're still going to have the Lindsey Graham brand. You're still going to have the Mitch McConnell brand. The Cocaine Mitch. You're still going to have that. You're still going to have the Rand Paul brand. You're still going to have those brands. You're going to have the Trump brand. But I think there's been enough people disillusioned by this. And enough people realizing that it's not as much a political solution as it is a religious one that is political. And to sit there and say, the idea that we can just go back to this secular thing and still try to balance it out to say that we're really hardcore about the church, we're really hardcore about the gospel. We really believe that God and in prayer are all the answers. And yet we're going to take positions that are completely antithetical to the scripture. Nice try. And people are saying, look, the only way out of this, there is no political solution. You're seeing this more and more and more. Now, in the end, there will have to be one. Otherwise, we're in the realm of just pure escapism. Pure fatalism. And say, well, the destiny in the stars is that, we just go home and do our thing. Now, that's part of it. But even that in and of itself is political. Especially in a world right now where we are in absolute politics, where everything is politicized. And it is. Because how common is it when people say, man, it's like everything's political. And people get mad, more mad than ever, saying, oh man, why does the church got to be so political all the time? You're hearing it more than ever. Why? Because that's the era that we are in right now. That's the spirit of our age. We're in that. And so we have to produce models. You have to just That's why you got to say, look, it's easy to poke shots at the left. It's easy to recognize the death spiral on the right. What is difficult is those people of vision. Those people of vision that can look forward with the democracy of the dead and in the train and say, look, man, we are marching forward. We are a submarine. And we are marching forward and we're about to emerge. We're about to blow it up because we are here. And we have a vision that is much bigger than men. It's much bigger than chariots and horsemen. It's much bigger than the masses of mediocrity. It's better. And why? Because it is the kingdom with no end. Because it is Christ the King. It's Christendom 2.0. And you're going to have differences of opinion as to what this means. You got to listen to the show. You got to listen to the show. Because if people trot out dead horses and they go, well, look, I want to go back to 1776, blah, blah, and they do that stuff to you, you have to realize and look at that and say, that horse is dead, homie. It is dead. It has been in the stable rotting for a long time, and the people who are grooming it are sickos. Now, the professionals, right? The conservative ink folks that use the language but don't mean it anymore. That sit there and talk about how God is central to everything, and yet at the same time, they've got, a bunch of trannies on stage throwing money to the crowd, setting up, all the gay dating stuff. The land of thoughts. Simpy Simpland. Thinking it's okay to, do things to yourself, if you know what I'm saying. The kind of people who don't question the idea of divorce at all. The people who will say, yeah, I'm against abortion, but those people, they're going to be around. Those people are going to try. They're going to trot out the language. It's polemical. They're going to use that language to bedazzle you, to bewitch you into believing that it's still a viable thing. And the truth is, there's no viable in that. There's no vitae. It is dead, man. It is dead. But I also don't want to beat a dead horse. So I'm not, I'm not going to sit here and just every single day bash even conservative ink. I'm not going to do it. Because we have to be moving forward. We have to be somebody that is saying, from this is going to emerge something great. I've talked at the beginning of my highlight video that when civilizations are going up, they're ascending, right? They're becoming bigger. They're united, uniform. They have shared beliefs and values, traditions, language, religion, race. All of these things are in harmony. And they're ascending. Their identity is united. Then they begin to descend as it separates. Civilization, they want to spread out. They want to go all over the world. They believe that their idea needs to be for everyone. And they begin to descend. And as they do, the inside of the culture, the inside of that, ends up breaking off into a bunch of pieces, rival groups and factions. And that from that will emerge a new group. And there's a clash point, and that's a hot point. It's a flashpoint, right? It's burning hot. It's where war happens. I've said in my highlight reel that that's where we are right now. But it's not just true with the United States. It's true of institutions. You can see how institutions, as they get bigger, and as the GOP, the DNC, look at the way that it's broken into factions and these compete. Neither side trusted the establishment, but one side knew how to keep control. The Democrats knew. They took it away from the people and made them superdelegates. They understood that. The only way to, in that environment where the people don't trust the institution anymore, you can't give the people the power. You can't do it. And so you've got kind of this weird thing going on. But the thing is, there are these competing views, just like with your civilization and culture. Same thing. You got it with the GOP, and inside there, these competing factions. There's going to be a dynamic of the conversations going forward on this show that are going to talk about why you should not trust Conservative Inc. Why you should not trust the Alex Jones, this is 1776, trotting out the dead horse parade. There's a reason why. But it's not just a negative apologetic. It's not just, it's one of those things that makes me sick about so many Christian apologists. They'll look at the world and they'll look at different sciences and things like that and philosophy and everything like that. They'll look at it, and instead of presenting something that's actually viable, that makes, predictive claims or anything of that nature, that instead what they do is they simply try to poke holes in what they don't like. They're ultimately nothing more than termites. Termite tactics is one thing. It's another thing if that's literally all you are. Because to sit there and say, well, I don't like your model. I don't like Conservative Inc. So let's say that we tear Conservative Inc. down. Let's say that we tear the establishment in GOP. Let's say we get rid of all those guys. What's next? People can then look and say, all right, Paleocrat, what's next? Jeremiah, what's your solution then? And if I don't have something, then I'm nothing more than this nihilistic weirdo that just sits there and says, you know what? We're going to beat something with nothing. I don't believe that. That's why I work my tail off. That's why I sit there every single day, pushing. Every single day. We'll talk about the fight back here. I don't worry about that. Yeah, I don't worry about any of this stuff. No. I think is that it? Okay. Well, I'll end with this one. I gave you a little bit of a hint as to where we're going on the next show. But here's the thing. We have to provide a positive case. And it's not just a positive case like a blueprint, something like that, to say, well, these are the policies and platforms. Those things are all true. But at the core of this, what makes this different than the establishment in GOP, what makes this different than any other political philosophy in how to deal with this is, number one, okay, in first and foremost, it's in the heart. You have to say there's a dynamic of this that extends into the world, into the realm of policy, into the realm of platform and everything else. You need that. Those are tools. You have to do that. But this is different because we sit there and we say, what are the first things? What was the first thing that I said we have to do? Recognize that we're mortal. We are not God. And that we're going to die because we've sinned. And because of that, we need to cry out, mea culpa, my fault. If we don't start there, we're toast. Look at any of those institutions. Look at any of those worldviews. Look at any of those paradigms. And if they don't start clear as day that they are creations, they are the creation of the triune God, that they have sinned and that they need a redeemer and that redeemer is Christ and him alone. If they don't start with that from the get-go, get out. Leave them. That is a sure sign that they are not relying on the one true God. I heard a prayer last night, made me want to puke. Sitting there, it was so bland and it was so blah. And I'm sitting there saying, what is this, some Freemason crap? What is this? The G? In the name? What are you talking about in the name? Whose name? Where is your sign of the cross? You don't even, if it's not this way, you want to know what it is? It's got to be something. There has to be an indication that you're not just throwing up your prayer to the coexist big G of Freemasonry. Because that, by the way, is the architect and the providence that got us here. No. No more of that. There is one God, and we have one king. And he has a kingdom that doesn't end. And you want to know what we are? We're not just disciples. We are more than conquerors. And we have a great commission. We have a huge honking commission. And we have 2,000 years of wisdom and tradition and revelation to guide the way. watch out. Watch out for the Thunderdome. And keep watching this show, by the way, and realize that right here, when you finally find the idiot who's been sabotaging your life for all these years, it was us. It was us. No more blaming. And remember, step one, did I say, was step one. And think of the difference. Think of just even the way that you frame yourself, the way that you frame your situation, the way that you're viewing the world, the way that you're posturing yourself towards your problem. And say, what did Jeremiah say? Did he say, look at all the bad guys all around? Or did he say, you must cry out to God? You were created. You have sinned. You must repent. You must embrace the truth. You must live righteously. You mustn't allow the oil to go out. You must examine your life. You must examine your conscience. You must. And you must move forward. You must fight like hell. You must. You, me. It's like, what is it? Kon Marie? I forget the lady's name. The Japanese house cleaning idea. Cleaning in your just general, and Coney Marie, I don't know, but anyway, the idea is that you hold on to things, and you got to decide if you love it. If you truly do, you got to be okay getting rid of things. I think that we need to do that in a lot of ways. I think that that's, in fact, a very Christian way of looking at, our lives and the things that we do. Do we actually love this? And if we don't, what are we holding on to that for? What are we willing to get rid of? Are these things idols? And if we do love it, we need to really add that layer to it to say, what kind of love? Is it real love? Is it lust? Is it power? What are we dealing with here? But the idea of being able to get rid of those things, and that if you are someone in the house and you see your home is a mess and you're mad because other people aren't doing it, and I suffer with this. This is a tough one for me. When I see the house a mess, that I need to realize, well, you know what I could do? I could do the small things in my own life. I could begin cleaning up and be the example. I need to do it in hopes that people would see it and come with me because they see the mess. And they see an example. They see a leader who's got a vision. They see somebody who's putting in the work, and they want to join too because they catch that vision. We need to do that with the Thunderdome. And that's what we're going to do, guys. That's what we are going to do. Oh, yeah. It's the end of the show. I'm grateful for all you guys. Remember, and I don't know if my wife, I do this every single. I have to get back to the, what is it, man? I got to get back to the monitor system we had, right? I had a little walkie-talkie, stuff like that with my wife. That way, my staff, and whenever I say staff, it's hilarious. I mean, I really am talking about my kids and my wife. You guys coming down? They both fell asleep again. Oh. Here, just put your head over my shoulder. I'll get you on the big screen here. It's all right. Yeah, there we go. Look at this. Look at my mega hot wife. And look, we both have mini me's. Do you see that?
Yes.
You're cute. Yeah, I like that. I love my wife. Look, she's gorgeous. And by the way, I hope you guys all love her too, right? And the kind of effort and the tolerance, right? She tolerates me like crazy. So she has to put up with me in a lot of ways. And she knows that sometimes it's hard for me to put into practice what I preach. And she helps to keep me accountable and is really patient in the meantime. And so I'm really grateful for that. She's also the one who made sure to put all that stuff together for Zazzle. And so if you go to our Zazzle store, Paleocrat Diaries over there, and you see the mugs and you see the sweaters and all of that, you can know that that's actually her and the work that she's done, as well as, the babies that we've got. There's a lot of work she put into those. Well, It does take two to tango. It was a collaborative effort. But in the end, it was her that did the labor. And so, I was there for it, but I ain't going to take credit for that. I mean, it was a lot going into that. So anyway, all right. We're grateful. We love you guys. Big time. And the ladies. And by the way, ladies, you still to this day, right now, are the largest demographic that tunes into this show. I don't know why, but I'm grateful. Make sure if you want to learn more about the show, paleocratdiaries.com, share it with your friends, right? We are now at war. We've been at war. We are at war. It's been a message of the show. We're in the Thunderdome, and we're going to do it together because we're Wolfpack. Paleocratdiaries.com for interviews, speeches. I'll throw in debates. You want to argue? We're in the arena. Any other inquiry, paleocratdiaries@gmail.com. We'll have a new episode of Paleo Cheese this weekend. Keep an eye on Meaning of Catholic and Holy Faith Media. What's that? And of course, Telegram. Make sure Paleocrat Diaries and the Paleocrat Diaries Wolfpack chat. Until next time, I'll salute you and say, never give up. Keep on smiling. And memento mori. If I don't talk into microphones, I don't make that mad cash. Making all that money. Making that mad loot, right?
Mind control.
So we see the minority elite imposing their ideology on an unwilling and resentful populace. This causes a backlash. People get ticked off.
The left is working long and hard to make us feel as if we've done something wrong. Worse yet, that we are the problem. Don't let people just rip on your heritage. Don't let people just rip on your traditions. Don't let people rip on your heroes. Stand up for what you believe, what made you who you are. So unless this disenfranchised majority begins standing up for what they believe in their heart of hearts to be true, I think we'd be left with nothing more than a dirge, and maybe a funeral procession.